Okie dokie. I think we can kick it off. Everybody, thank you so much for your patience. Welcome, welcome, as I said, to today's info session on the Bold Fellowship for Entrepreneurship. But before we kick it off, just wanted to introduce myself. Hi, everybody. My name is Philip. I'm part of the EGC team, one of the proud members taking part of this amazing, amazing project, again, called the Bold Fellowship for Entrepreneurship. So, yes, if you're curious about this program and really thinking about applying, you are in the right spot. So for today's session, we're just going to try to give you some basics, introduce you to the program, but also provide you some time for any questions that you might have related to the program, how this might affect you, what can you take out of this, but also what it takes to complete the application, and also what you guys can await happening and going forward. With that said, we're going to kind of take you down this journey of what the Bold Fellowship for Entrepreneurship in Bosnia and Herzegovina is. Our first and most important, I would say, question is really trying to determine what is this, right? So for a lot of you that are maybe hearing about this program for the first time, really wanted to just briefly say this is a program that is all about you guys doing a lot of, I would say, practical hands-on stuff and work related to entrepreneurship training, entrepreneurship growth, and specifically related to your business ideas development, right? So experiential learning is a model called learning by doing. So everything that we do as part of this incubator and as part of this program is where you guys actually get to do all of this. So one of the main aspects of the Bold Fellowship for Entrepreneurship is really kind of focusing on these practical and leadership skills. Any entrepreneur needs to know that all of the different skills that they maybe have learned in either a classroom or in a theoretical, I would say, foundation, really need to be able to then apply those. So what we try to do is throughout the Bold Fellowship program, we try to provide the fellows the opportunity to really kind of, I would say, roll up their sleeves and get their hands dirty with working with some of the different frameworks, working with some of the different challenges in building out their ideas, iterating their ideas, and then being able to finally come up with something that is called a minimum viable product. A second thing is, I would say, an equally valuable as the first is going to be really kind of trying to spark that entrepreneur mindset. What does that mean, if you're wondering? And if you're telling yourself, I already have that mindset, I'm ready to kind of like build ideas and do amazing stuff. Let's see. Okay, great. Sarah, thank you so much. Let's see if we can do this. Awesome. Sarah, I think you should be able to hear
Can
and
you hear me
speak.
now?
Yes, and if you want, you
Okay.
can also
I,
turn on your camera and everything.
I cannot. It will not allow me to. You all have to do those settings. Sorry. It won't let me.
Got it. So you're one of the co-hosts, so you should be able to turn on the
It
camera
says
if
you
you.
cannot start your video because the host has disabled it. Sorry, I've been trying for 5 minutes. That's all I got for you.
So sorry. Okay, let's see if this button is gonna do it. Maybe Marco. Marco, can you jump in and try to see if you can fix that on that end? But in any case, Sarah, if you're okay with it, so we can continue in the meantime, just rolling without video, and I'm so sorry for that.
Yep, nope, that's totally fine. Hi, everybody.
Thank
My
you.
name is Sarah Hennessy. I'm the public diplomacy officer here at the U.S. Embassy that works on the BOLD program. I also work with Layla Pasovich, and hopefully she'll be able to join in a bit as well and say hello. Thank you so much for your interest in BOLD. This is a program that's funded by the U.S. Department of State through the U.S. Embassy in Sarajevo. We work with EGC, and they implement the BOLD Fellowship for Entrepreneurship. Um, if I'm glad you're here. If you're here, it means you're interested and you have ideas. Even if you're not 100% sure that this is for you, I strongly recommend that you apply. I think that the whole experience is a really good professional development opportunity, and you'll learn a lot about yourself as well as your ideas and their viability and where you might take things just through the process of applying. So, wish you the best of luck, and we'll be on the call if there are questions later.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Sarah, I'm so sorry for the video. We're trying to figure that out,
It's
what
okay.
to see what's going on. But Sarah, thank you so much for chiming in and really can I would say also providing guys everybody that kind of big picture vision. I do have to say that the Bold Fellowship is in one very, very important way, also kind of being selected to this very unique program, this very highly selective program that also gives you the title of becoming a Bold Ambassador. So if selected to the Bold Fellowship, you become an ambassador to the program. Of course, especially when you're traveling abroad to the United States, you're also an ambassador of your own country in the United States. So really kind of important to mention. And I'll just kick it off where I stopped, and that is really kind of thinking about how do you guys develop that entrepreneurial mindset in the sense that we try to expose you to the ecosystem here based out of New York City in Syracuse, where the goal is to showcase what does it actually mean to be an entrepreneur, right? So a lot of the times the startup founders that we work with, they have a lot of challenges in coping with the reality that hard work is one of the crucial elements that's going to allow you to succeed, and typically entails also working maybe one, two, or three other jobs at the same time, right? So that entrepreneurial mindset is sparking that ability and desire and commitment for you guys to be passionate about what you're building, passionate about what you want to achieve, and passionate about the vision that you're trying to build out. Lastly, one of the amazing aspects of this program is the network of different mentors, both people that are from all around the world, based out of both Syracuse and New York City, but also very, very interesting people coming from the diaspora. So people that have been working in different sectors, fields, tech, finance, business, management, advertising, that our goal is to expose them to you, so they can also become your mentors and advisors for the future, especially as you continue to build out your startups. Um, Moving onwards, and as I said, guys, if anybody has any comments, please feel free to drop those in the chat box, and we'll circle back to any questions and all questions at the end of the session. So really, really quickly, the Bold program consists of three main components. The first one is going to be what we call our virtual program, and the name implies that for about a month, you're going to spend for 1.5 hours per week with an additional 1 hour of work in your own time, meaning that on average, we're looking at a 3 hour commitment per week. And I'm going to repeat myself, that is 1.5 hours per week online. And during this 1 month program, what we do is we go through a framework that's preparing you, one, for everything that comes in the US, but also helping you further validate a lot of the questions, challenges that you might have. So here, primarily focusing on customer discovery. So when you get into the part of the US program, you already have that validated idea with customers, with the problem, and really starting to understand how do you leverage your experience, whether it's academic, professional, or maybe you've done some research in trying to build out the idea that you have. So this 1 month, you're also going to be working with three different facilitators. All of the different facilitators for the program are people that have both, I would say, that practical experience, theoretical experience, and real life experience. So it's the kind of, I would say, the three the three holy aspects of being an entrepreneur is having different backgrounds of experience. We come to the what I know is most important for a lot of the potential candidates out there, and that is the US component, where you spend about 1 month as part of this incubator in between Syracuse and New York City. So the first week that you arrive, you will spend in New York City, and then you go to Syracuse, in particular at Syracuse University for the next 2 weeks, followed by one more week in New York City. In New York City, what we try to do is we try to put you in the shoes of entrepreneurs, right? So, what better ecosystem than to get you going from one meeting to the other, from 9 a.m. until 9 p.m., networking and really kind of getting any shot and chance to pitch your ideas in front of different groups, different people, but also in the meantime, expanding your own network, really trying to understand and collecting that feedback based on the questions that you receive. And I would say at the center after New York City is our bootcamp program at Syracuse University. This is where you spend about 2 weeks living the real college life, right? Living on campus with a lot of students. Syracuse University is one of the largest universities in New York State. It's a little bit up north from New York City, which is about maybe 3.5 hours away from New York City, but still part of New York State. And then at the end, once you come back to New York City, we have this, I would say, pinnacle of this component of the Bold Fellowship, and that is when you get to pitch your idea in front of a panel of judges and Sarah and panel of judges and other different events that we put you in, basically trying to validate and test your idea even further. So think about some of these meetings going from different, I would say, tech companies, Amazon, to different banks and Goldman Sachs. But we also try to expose you to different venture studios, just so they can also stress test your ideas and you guys can provide any feedback and questions that you might have for them. Um, what we try to do is, as our last component towards this program and the fellowship itself, is what we consider one of the most important aspects is when you go back, right? So when you go back to Bosnia and Herzegovina is where we start working on with you further on validating some of these ideas, and then really kind of, I would say, getting down into the nitty-gritty details of having a fully functional minimal viable product. So that's the goal. And when you think about yourself in terms of whether you're a potential candidate for this program, the most important aspect is, and I'll talk a little bit more about the eligibility, is going to be the aspect of really understanding, have you done your due diligence? Have you done your homework? Have you done your research? And this is where we try to help and work with you. So at what we call the demo day is where you're going to be pitching in front of the local ecosystem. At that point, you'll be thinking about who are some of those different ecosystem stakeholders, who are those maybe future partners, maybe future investors, maybe future team members that you want to pitch. So the demo day in Sarajevo is really kind of the pinnacle of the program. And as I said, it is definitely not the hopefully last time that you will be pitching. There's probably going to be 100 or 500 times more that you'll have to pitch. But this is just one very important aspect of your journey. Moving onwards, and I'm sorry for talking a lot. I'll try to speed up a little bit. Yeah, really quickly. Think about what is it that you can maximize and expect from the Bold Fellowship, and if being selected. One, when you think about the pre-travel, is really kind of this virtual and online program. You also have access to our database with a lot of different resources that we'll be utilizing during the sessions. Second is taking part of the bootcamp program at Syracuse, really kind of experiencing New York City's ecosystem, taking part at really kind of unique custom built pitch events just for the Bold Fellows, and receiving a digital certificate from Syracuse University as part of the Bold Fellowship program. And lastly, which I always like to think about, one of the most important aspects is really kind of putting you guys in the spotlight. So really putting you face on with some of the best entrepreneurs, founders, investors that you can find in New York City. And then lastly, let me just remove this little screen. And then lastly, moving on to Sarajevo is really when you get to work with the local ecosystem and really trying to understand who can be that mentor from the Bill Fellowship that you can continue working on going forward. Moving onwards, as I said, guys, if you have any questions or anything that I didn't mention here, please put it in the chat box and we'll circle back to it at the end of the session. Very important part, I would say, is thinking about who is eligible to apply. So think about anybody who's between the ages of 18 to 25. I do have to say that the most important point here is that you're 18 to 25 at the point of application. And then secondly, that you are a citizen of Bosnia and Herzegovina. Think about also the fact that you have to reside in Bosnia and Herzegovina full time. We do have many questions where we have people who are maybe doing some type of international study abroad semester, but they're coming back and then they're doing maybe 3 weeks abroad. Feel free to also share the, I would say, specific particular questions related to your case with us. Don't hesitate. We're going to also share the link to the application and our email that you can reach out to us, and we can try to figure out what is particular for your case exactly. And then lastly, when you think about who is eligible to apply, is that commitment, right? So we're looking for young people that are passionate about their idea, but also ready to put in the time commitment. So as I said, about 3 hours per week during the online session, during the online portion, and then really kind of full time when you're in the US, and then flexible when you're back in Bosnia and Herzegovina. Do have to say that a lot of times we work with different fellows that maybe have full-time jobs, maybe are doing still studying. We always try to work around the system that really enables them to continue to be the amazing people they are. But I do have to say that keep in mind that the only way that you can maximize this program is by being focused, right? So if you're trying to do three jobs and then also submit your thesis, and then you're really thinking about, hey, can actually do all this, and then be mentally, not only physically, but mentally present during some of these sessions, that's where you really should ask yourself that question, being fair to yourself and trying to maximize the opportunity. Okie dokie. Onward, sorry. Yep. So, who is the ideal candidate for this program? So, as I mentioned, we're looking for individuals who really kind of are in between the ideation and pre-seed stage. In our application, we really try to define a little bit what this means. So, if anybody's like, I don't know really what pre-seed means, in the application itself, you have options that you can select that gives you a little bit of clarity on what that actually entails. Neither stage is advantageous to the other. So we really are trying to really understand what your background is and where are you right now. We look for young people working on different business ideas across different fields. So there's no field that's going to reject you or kind of deem you ineligible from this program. It has to be, though, something that uses some type of technology, right? So think about some type of tech platform, or think about something, or maybe a hardware device that's connected to an online platform. Think about some type of technology that is the center, at the core of your business, right? So there's a lot of amazing young people there building traditional businesses. So think about like brick and mortar, house, shops, stores. Those are entrepreneurs in itself. But on this side, with the fellowship program, we're looking for founders and young people that are really kind of thinking about, okay, what technology can I use to rapidly and quickly grow the business that I have in mind? Even if this is just an ideation, and if you have an idea related to this technology, that's perfectly fine. And again, as I said, if you have any questions or doubts, feel free to reach out to us by email, and we can always set up a time also to chat. And the last 2 points is really thinking about someone who is also looking to give back and really kind of play an important role in their own community, and that shares this passion for entrepreneurship and leadership, right? So any startup founder also understands that he or she has the superpower in inspiring others, right? And this is really the goal for positive entrepreneurship and positive role models in society that can really showcase that they're building something that they care about, that they have this mutual vision on building a better future, even if that, and please, I do have to say, if that better future is like for your village or for your town, it doesn't have to be for the entire world. So as local, as global as you guys can think, as long as you have that vision that you can demonstrate and showcase. Yeah, so I do want to say that as part of the application components, we've also shared a very brief carousel online, and I'll ask our team just to share that link through some of our social media, really trying to do a deeper dive into the specific questions related to the application, but where you can find all the details. I would say that the application itself overall is going to take about maybe 30 minutes. Please keep in mind that there's the application form itself. The second is maybe the essay questions that are going to take maybe 10 minutes. So the application form is going to be kind of general information to learn about yourself. We also ask for one letter of recommendation. I love your friends, your family, and everybody, but please bear in mind that this has to be a professional letter of recommendation, someone that knows you through your academic or professional endeavors, that can vouch for the work and the kind of, I would say, the persona that you are. And lastly, really kind of thinking about submitting that 1 minute pitch. We have been doing a lot of talking about what that 1 minute pitch. We have several of the Bold alum that have also spoken about the application, that 1 minute pitch that we've been posting on social media. So if you're really curious and like, hey, how do I do this? Check out some of the social media stuff that we've been posting, because that can give you a direct insight in terms of how to actually go about the application itself. Our second phase is really when we try to, I would say, identify those individuals that have demonstrated some of the traits that we're looking for. As I said, kind of the ideal candidate in the previous slide. And then you'll have one-on-one sessions, online sessions with one of our team members. Lastly, what we try to do is we have a comparative analysis between both stages of the application process. And we have a committee that looks at each candidate and in coordination also with our partners at the US Embassy, we really try to I would say complete a comparative analysis that gives the best possible candidates and a group of 10 fellows that we're looking for as part of the upcoming cohort. We do keep in contact and inform every candidate along the way. So whether it's during stage one, during stage two, if anybody has any questions, so for example, like if you don't get selected in stage two, and don't be upset. I get it that you're probably going to be a little bit upset, but please feel free to reach out to us. We're always happy to chat and really kind of explain how can you strengthen whatever you're working on in the future. And don't be discouraged, right? The one of the key qualities of any entrepreneur is just to never stop, in the sense that if you really want something, apply again next year, right? So think about how do you demonstrate and showcase growth? How do you say, hey, this is what I've learned maybe from last year. This is what I did maybe different that I'm applying now. So don't let that be a discouragement, and don't stop. Okay, moving onwards. Okay, just a few more minutes. Okay, as I said, really, really quickly, we're going to share the link to the application form. Please, I know that everybody's going to probably do the applications last minute, which is okay with the caveat that you've prepped your letter of recommendation and the 1 minute video. Trust me, give yourself just maybe a little bit of time before that deadline, just so you can maybe do it, especially the video if you're not happy with. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just be yourself. That's the most important thing. But if you do want to practice that deadline, try to complete some of these components ahead of time. And as I said, if anybody has any questions about any of the application questions in particular, or the format of the video or the letter of recommendation, we've been posting on our social media to really inform any interested candidate on the particular details related to the application. We also, as I said, have alum members that are sharing some of the secrets and tips on how to be considered as a really great candidate based on their experience. Okay, we're right about time. Yep, really quickly, looking at the application timeline. So our deadline is December 17th. And as I said, try to submit your applications up to then. We unfortunately, and of course, we cannot consider applications after the deadline. We will be conducting the interviews and review over the course of the next month and a half. And at that point, in February 19th, that new cohort will be selected and announced. The virtual program begins on March the 2nd, and followed by the in-person component of the program taking place in the US between New York City and Syracuse. And then really want to say that the demo day in Sarajevo is likely taking place sometimes in mid-June, with the specific date yet to be confirmed. Okay, moving onwards. Yep, so when you think about what does the program include, so I'm not going to dive into every particular detail here, but I just want to mention that think about expenses along the lines of flights, accommodation, meals, visa, health insurance, any aspect related to the formal program, informal activities that we cover. What do we not cover? If you guys choose to say, hey, want to go buy myself a dozen I Love New York City t-shirts, that's not something that we cover, right? And then if you guys want to go and do and explore things on your own that are outside of the schedule, that is something that we do not cover. That is not included as part of this program. I do have to say that very, very importantly, it is that throughout the schedule, the activities that we have put in place is something that we ask every fellow to respect and honor. For example, if we're in New York City, that nobody is traveling to New Jersey or nobody is traveling to Connecticut, even if it's only maybe 30 minutes away, that all of the travel and all of the activities remain as part of what the official and formal program of the Bold Fellowship program is. Okay, moving forward, one thing that I'm sorry, I forgot to mention, if anybody has any health issues or challenges, again, absolutely not something that will dismiss from applying or being eligible. We do also have one component that where you can indicate if you do have any health issues or challenges, and we will do the best that we can to accommodate, of course, if you will be selected to the program. But there will be health insurance tied. And again, I'm not going to get into the health insurance as of now, but that is something that we can discuss if anybody has any particular questions. Okay, moving onwards. Yep, really kind of coming to the end. So any questions, feel free to start lining them up. I would say that one of the main aspects of being a bold fellow is kind of the term and the word itself, right? So I know it's a little bit cliche, but the goal of this program is to really kind of embed this bold spirit. And that is the equivalent of being an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur means being resilient, means being committed, and it means being persistent, right? So you have to have some vision of where you want to be, right? Whether it's, hey, I want to solve this, I want to be the best thing for this. These are the types of individuals that are the best candidates. And this is why this program is one of the most unique programs that is a State Department program that offers this amazing opportunity for young people coming from Bosnia and Herzegovina. We at EGC are super proud to be the implementing partner for this program. And we have had I would say, the honor to work with so many young, awesome people like yourselves. And don't think twice about if you're eager, if you know that you're passionate, if you have done some of the aspects that I mentioned at the beginning. Be bold and apply. There's nothing that can really kind of stop you. And again, that's applicable for everything in life, but really want to say be bold and make sure that you try to apply. Um, awesome. I will stop myself there. Sarah, if I missed anything or if there's anything else you want to add, please feel free to jump in.
Sure. Hi, I think you can see me now. I don't want to contradict Philip, but I'll just give a slightly different angle on applying. Apply early. Please don't wait till the last minute because I've seen it happen I've been doing exchange programs for a while now, and I've seen it happen too many times where everybody waits until the last 3 hours and it clogs up the application system and it crashes. And I can't guarantee that the system crashes that we're going to be able to take late applications. So please, I met somebody Monday night who said that they just recorded their 1 minute pitch because they were all dressed up for an event. Great, start recording yourself now. You might get a good take. Work on your stuff now. Set it aside, give it a day to rest, come back and read it one more time and go ahead and submit it. You don't need to wait till the last minute. And I would hate to see all of your work get lost in a portal crash because 75 people are all trying to do the same thing. And then just to reiterate what Philip said, you do not need your own money to do this program. All of the costs are covered. So if money is even a question in your mind, don't let it be one. Everything is going to be taken care of. And yeah, you'll be all set on this program. And yeah, I think Philip covered everything else. So I'm here if folks have questions.
Thank you, Sarah. And absolutely agree. Guys, like when you think about, and again, I know that the reality is that the people think, oh, I have time, right? And then they wait until the last moment. But don't put yourself through those stressful situations. And again, think about this as a unique opportunity to really kind of advance yourself and the business and the idea and everything that you want to become, right? So this program, both are partners across the spectrum that are part of this program, and even every mentor and every advisor, they believe in the people they work with, right? So the bold fellows are, and the fellowship and the alum community is a very, very special, unique group in Bosnia and Herzegovina. So after you've completed the program, it does not end per se, right? You become part of an alum community that really is there to support each other. And in addition to that, it's also about identifying maybe potential people that can help you, maybe with marketing, maybe with development. And it is a true treasure and database for anything that you want to build out going forward. So out of the alum community, we also see the strength on people actually collaborating, working. There is also the Bold Fellowship in other countries in the regions. So there is this amazing overlap of cross-pollination between these young people. And I do have to invite you, if you do think that this is something that you want to try to kind of give it a shot and be bold, absolutely do apply. Okay, I'll stop myself there. Sorry, Sarah. Kind of jumping in with some of the questions. Maria, thank you so much for sharing the application forms and the application link. I'll jump in. And by the way, no question is a mm, feel free to ask any question, anything, and if there's anything that I did not cover, anything that was unclear, please feel free to let us know whether it is now or follow up with us by email. So I'll jump in one of the first questions. Bakir, thank you. How are different stages or ideas evaluated? Is there a difference between having just an idea, having more research and more developed idea or service, or having an actual MVP or even a prototype? So, Bucky, thank you for the question. One of the key elements, what we're looking for is people that have been committed to what they're working, whether it is at the ideation stage or if they have the MVP. We're looking for people that have really kind of spent time, that have invested their time and energy in doing that market research, in building out their customer development, in understanding who their customers are, and if they've had a chance to move along the different stages and maybe think about building an MVP in as through ChatGPT, right? So that's also awesome. But as long as you can showcase that this is something that you're committed to, that you are personally and professionally committed to your growth through, and that this program can actually help you move along your determination and ambition, then that is what we're looking for, right? So we're not going to exclude someone just because they're in the ideation stage versus MVP stage. It really comes down to how can you relate to us through maybe it's that 1 minute video or maybe it's one of the essay questions. So we don't exclude anybody based on the stage of development. Bucket, hopefully I answered your question. If I haven't, feel free to follow up. And Sarah, feel free to also jump in with any other responses or anything else that I might miss. Okay, I'm going to circle back down to Emma. Emma, what are the most common characteristics of applicants who succeeded in the fellowship? Yep, so I really want to, I'm sorry for repeating myself, but it is this kind of crazy entrepreneurial mindset, right? And what that actually means is people that don't give up, people that have conviction, people that are persistent. I'll give you a very, very simple example, right? So you work with a lot of different mentors throughout the Bold Fellowship program. How many of you are actually going to follow through and working in developing a trust relationship with those mentors? And that begins with a thank you message. That begins with maybe suggesting, hey, can we actually set up a time to meet bi-monthly or whatever biannually, and following through, right? So if you say that you're going to send a deck, you're going to send a deck. If you say that you're going to do something, that you actually make that happen. And those qualities are what makes a huge difference between someone who is I would say, aspiring entrepreneur, between someone who is a hardworking, hard worker and just focused on what needs to be done. So that determination, and again, using the term bold, really kind of being bold. So that's hopefully, Emma, that answers your question. We have another question. At what stage should our idea be for the fellowship? What is the ideal level of development? I feel like that's maybe something I also try to answer with Bakir, but there is no ideal level of development we're looking for. So these are very, very narrow stages between those two. As I said, the most important thing is that you guys can demonstrate and showcase that you have invested in the time in terms of understanding the market, building out your customer persona, ideally going out and speaking to maybe 3 or 4, 10, 50 people to actually validate the problem that you're trying to solve. So right, even before you're validating the solution, really think about how do you validate the problem, getting to that point where there is that problem solution fit. And if that's something you can demonstrate, that would be awesome. Okay, moving on to the next question. Great. Alexa, if we're accepted into the fellowship and already hold a valid US visa, can we use that visa for the program travel, or will a separate fellowship specific visa still be required? Sarah, I'll kind of kick it off, but if you want to also jump in, please.
Sure. I mean, the answer is it's going to depend. We would need to see a picture of the visa to confirm what type it is and for how long it's valid. If it's a B1, B2 tourism and business visa, then probably. But we'll deal with that on a case by case basis. And for everybody else, if you don't have a visa, that's fine. That's part of the costs that are covered through this program. We'll make the arrangements for everybody to travel to Sarajevo for the visa interviews and cover all the costs of that under the program.
And another amazing, I would say, benefit, given that you will also be getting these visas, right? So you'll be interviewed as part of a group that is part of a State Department program. And typically, Sarah, if I'm not mistaken, these visas are for longer periods of time. So if you do want to, oh, okay.
They're usually issued as a 10-year visa, but you have to use that visa responsibly the whole time. If for any reason you misuse it as part of the Bold program or later, then that visa can be taken back or revoked. So it's a responsibility. It's not just sort of like it's not a free pass.
And this is Leila, if may add just one thing. In a case that you have a Croatian passport, you will still get the visa because this is the State Department sponsored program, meaning that all participants will have the same documents in their passports. That means they will have the visa. No, it doesn't matter that Croatian passports are just on ESTA system. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Leila. Thank you, Sarah. Awesome. Okay. And then second question is, Teo, how big does my MVP need to be for applying? Is a baseline website enough? So one of the, I would say, most amazing things about startups and MVPs is that you can do whatever you want, right? In the sense that you can sketch something that can be your MVP. You can build out something, as you said, through a website and showcase it. You can say, hey, this is maybe just the first version, and nothing else is functioning, and that's fine, right? As long as you can showcase you worked on something. A lot of times we would work with founders, whether they're being building out different softwares, so like they can use different tools to build out, whether it's Lovable or Base 44 or Figma, but also in the case of if someone is building a physical hardware product, right? So this is also a tool that you can use to create a mock-up, right? So we, for example, like work with a founder that built out a device that measures the quality of air in mines, right? So at the beginning, they didn't have the enough money to build the actual product out. So what they did is they just sketched it out in Figma, and Figma is a very, very easy tool. So in essence, nobody has any excuses not to have an MVP or something that they can showcase. What are they working towards, right? And it doesn't even have to be an MVP that's completely validated, but what are you working towards? Awesome. Moving on. Is there a specific form for the recommendation letter? I would recommend that keep the letter in a I would say letterhead format, in the sense that whoever is providing that letter of recommendation, that he or she provides their contact information. So that is one very, very important piece. And then whether this is a one pager or a two pager, that is up to the person that is doing the referral and the recommendation. But again, just a reminder is have and keep those recommendations as professional and academic individuals that are coming towards you. But if anybody has any questions related to the recommendation letter or doubts, you can also send it over to us and we can take a quick look and circle back. Great. As a student living in another city from university, but still officially registered in my home address, which address city should I use on the application? My legal permanent address or my current student address city? So there's going to be two questions in the application. One is going to be kind of the city of birth or where you're originally from. And then the other is going to be the city of residence, right? So this is where you can indicate one or the other. Awesome. Moving onwards. If our startup idea includes an app and we want to showcase design in Figma, what is the best way to present it during the application process or interviews? Do you prefer links, screenshots, or presenting it live? So for example, like during the 1 minute video, you can do a share screen. So for example, like you just go on Zoom, you can record it, share your screen, showcase what you're doing. You can also do a link. As part of the applications, you're also including your LinkedIn's. So if there's anything that you're working on, we do double check and to see if there is something that is relevant to your application there. So you have the option of the application form, the video, but also any links that you want to include, especially social media where you talk about the work that you're doing. And what I see is the last question: is it possible to submit more than one recommendation letter, or do you prefer that we only include one? Good question. Please, we do ask for one letter of recommendation. It is awesome to see and hear that there are multiple people that want to recommend you for this program, but we try to ask you to choose one person that can recommend. I'll stop myself there, and I feel like we answered all of the questions. With that said, Sarah, if there's anything else that you want to add or mention, Layla for that matter, please feel free.
Um, I'll just circle back to several people asked about like what are the characteristics of a successful applicant. And I'm going to speak broadly here, but if you're on this call and if you have an idea, you probably already have all of the characteristics that we're looking for, if not more, and if not extra, or you're growing them already. This is a really competitive program, and there are only 10 spots for the fellowship. So you can have all of the characteristics and you may still not be selected. So please don't take not being selected for this program as the end of a road for you. Take it as a detour or take it as something to learn from and then apply again next year or apply for other opportunities because there are many other opportunities out there for entrepreneurs and startups. So please just don't be discouraged if you're not selected.
And I wish you good luck. And for sure, many of you will meet all of us in person.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. And super excited to see some of you really kind of become part of the whole fellowship community. It is a growing community that, as I said, beyond Bosnia and Herzegovina and has this amazing group of young, ambitious people like yourselves. And I do want to mention one more time. So we posted the link to the application, our email. If you have any questions, any questions that you might have, we really are super, super eager to help you move forward the application that you want to submit. And with that said, everybody, thank you so much for joining today. Sarah, Layla, thank you so much for joining. Apologies for the video conundrums at the beginning. We got you I would say at one point, but really thank you guys for joining and really appreciate the input and the feedback and the insights that you shared as well.
Thank you.
Everybody, have an awesome, awesome day. Bye, everybody. Bye, bye, bye.